Hey, thank you for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Table, and so honored today to have a returning guest with us, John Kinder, and he had mentioned a book in our last time together, and I just want to take a few minutes and kind of delve into it. It's a book that really helped me. I put it in a different context, but I think any book you take and develop and utilize it for your context. But it was on the book Rocket Fuel, written by Gino Wickman. It's an older book, but it really is about teamwork. It's about strategy. It's about putting right people in the right place. But more importantly, it's about you as the leader being in the right place.
Yeah.
And so, John, man, good to have you today. Thank you for hanging out with me. And talk to me a moment about Rocket Fuel, about, I know how you got it. I put it in your hand.
You did.
But the conversation behind that, and then maybe how you've implemented some of those resources.
That you've given me a lot of amazing stuff. That this might be the most significant, impactful gift you've ever given me.
Let me ask you this question. Is it because of the content or the timing of the content?
Absolutely both. Absolutely both. The content didn't just change my business. It changed me fundamentally. Changed how I operate fundamentally.
Okay.
And the timing could not have been better. I was at my breaking point. My business was growing faster than I could keep up with it, which was a wonderful thing. Kind of back it up to the things we talked about last time we were together, where I had been implementing these biblical principles, and everything is just flying out the door. And as a leader, I want to hold on to as many things as I can, because these values that I'm trying to implement, they're my values. They're not your values. So how can you implement them properly? Right? And I wound up like the smart kid in fourth grade who doesn't want anybody to copy off his test. Don't look at my stuff.
And you find yourself there. I think John Maxwell in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership says you become the lid, the law or the lid.
100%.
Because I want to hold on to it and I don't want to give it away. I don't want to share. I become the lid because, what ended up happening is by not sharing, by not giving it away, it limits our growth and our potential.
Anyway, absolutely. I became the limit to growth.
Yeah.
And it was coming to that realization the hard way, right? Not in a fun way. I was recognizing, as I looked at some of my problems, I was having to go, man, I'm the problem.
Wow.
I see that I'm the bottleneck here.
Well, yeah, man, what a great awareness. Because I'm going to tell you, that's huge. A lot of guys never come to that level of self-awareness that I'm the issue.
Yes, sir. I was real fortunate in my career to be around some great leaders that really impacted the way I lead. Yeah. Not just the way I do business, but the way I lead in general.
Good.
And one guy, if I can tell you a quick story.
Sure.
I was fairly young in my career, and he was moving me into doing some very specialized work. At the time, only 8 people on the planet did this type of work, and I knew it was going to open doors. And it took me from I have a job to I have a career.
Wow.
And it involved a ton of training, and the last little sign-off was I went and did this job by myself, and he watched it. And when we left, he gave me the Holy Cross, and I was anointed and sanctified and certified. And we did that little test in Beaumont, at a refinery in Beaumont. We were driving back towards this side of town. And I looked up at him. His name was Mike, and everybody called him Spike. And I said, Spike, thank you so much for this. This is huge. And Spike said, no. Don't thank me, boy. I said, do what? And he said, everything I've done for you is totally selfish. I said, how is that? And he said, I've recognized that I have become indispensable because nobody can replace me.
Mm.
And if you can't do what I do, I can never move up.
Yeah.
So you're the lucky recipient of it because you worked hard and you asked the right questions and you got the right attitude. Sure. But I didn't do this for you. I did this for me. And I recognized in that moment that being indispensable, being the one that the company can't live without,
man,
it's a good feeling. Yeah. It's good for your ego. It's not good for business.
No,
and it's not good for you personally. And so a big part of my business model is training. I want people to know, I want everybody that works for me now to know everything that I know. I want to pour as much technical knowledge as you want, as much mechanical knowledge as you want. Everything I know, if you want to know it, I want you to know it because I want you to rise up. And I wasn't doing that with leadership. I was doing that with technical skills. I was doing that with knowledge-based learning. I was not doing that with leadership. Okay. Right? I want y'all to be doing this, but I'm going to decide how the bus gets driven.
Yeah.
And hey, here's my vision, and I'm going to implement the vision. And when you gave me rocket fuel takes that concept and says, no, that's not right. And I think that's my attitude was not uncommon amongst business leaders, especially.
Oh no, it's very, very common.
Yeah, especially amongst entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
I own this business. This business is important to me as my children.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can love it the way I love it.
Correct.
And so we want to hold on to things. And what Rocket Fuel lays out is that there are two primary types of leaders. There's a vision driver. I see the big picture. This is where I want us to go. And the implementer. And your implementer is who actually makes things happen.
See, I flip that language a little bit. In my context, I call it the vision leader and the vision driver.
The driver, I love that.
You know, it's the one who's seeing and then the one who's actually driving what's being seen. And the reason why I don't remove vision from both of those words, okay, the vision leader, the vision driver, is because I want my integrator to still have vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I don't want them to be just, go turn the wrench, turn the screw, because I said that's the one that needs to. No. What I want you to do is still be able to see. I want to, I use this phrase a lot. I want to borrow your influence.
Oh, it's good.
And sometimes I want to borrow people's vision. I don't want just to be the sole visionary. I want to borrow other people's vision. So if I have people on my team, I don't need everybody to be a visionary, but I do need a couple of them. So sorry about that.
No, listen, that's such a phenomenal descriptor of my integrator, of the guy that I brought in and hired.
Oh, that's good.
Brought him in from a competitor. Sat him down. I've known him for a long time, and so he understood a little bit about my values. And I sat him down, and we had some phenomenal conversations about what I'm looking for, how we're doing business, where we're going. And because he'd come from a place where he didn't like the vision, he had vision of his own. And when we sat down and we compare notes, a lot of places our visions intersect. There's some places where they diverge.
Sure.
But he absolutely had vision that I had missed. It was good stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Right. And we need that, right?
Yeah.
I tell people sometimes we're not number one and number two, we're 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
Right. I need, my guy's name is Matt, and man, he's so good. So good. Because the truth is, there are things, as you get through Rocket Fuel, a big part of Rocket Fuel is you take some leadership, kind of some personality tests. And the first time I took them, when I went through, I took them with my head, not with my heart.
Yeah.
And it's a very important thing. Rocket Fuel doesn't work, I don't think, if you don't love what you do.
No, I don't think it does either.
Right. If you don't love what you do and you don't love the people you're with and you don't love the company you're working for, I don't know that it's as effective.
No.
So it's important that you read that book more with an open heart than an open mind.
That's so good.
And so I took these tests, and there's questions kind of help you decide, are you really a driver or an integrator? And there's lots of stuff like, do you discipline your team well? I'm pretty good at disciplining my team. That's a 5. I'm pretty good at that. I hate doing it.
Yeah.
I hate holding people accountable for stuff, right? I want to be the fun parent. I don't want to be the one with the paddle all the time. That's what a driver is, right?
Yeah.
Your vision driver doesn't want to be. He don't want to hold the paddle.
Yes.
He kind of just wants it to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Your integrator doesn't mind carrying the paddle for you.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean y'all are good cop, bad cop all the time.
No.
But there are roles that we don't want to do that our integrator is good at and doesn't mind doing.
Sure.
And so when I took it the first time, I took these series of tests. I answered them with my head, and if I was good at it, I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
And I came to you and I said, man, I don't know what to tell you. I got 50 on both of them. And you said, you're stupid. That's not correct. There's no way that happened.
I didn't use the word stupid.
knucklehead. You fine. You might even cuss me. I don't remember. But, you said go back and I don't want to know what you're good at. I want to know what you love.
Yeah.
I want to know what you love doing. And when I went back and I took those tests with my heart instead of with my head, I am overwhelmingly a driver.
Yeah.
And bringing in an integrator and offloading not just work stuff onto him, but leadership stuff onto him, giving him the portions of leadership that my heart doesn't want to do.
Right.
Number one, took so much stress off of me. I think some of my hair started.
But here's the thing. Let's talk about that for just a second. Because if you're not careful, some people will hear that and say, I need this person so I can dump off what I don't want to do. Yeah. This isn't a place to dump. It's a place you found Matt, and Matt was good where you weren't.
We have different buckets.
Yeah.
And Matt's bucket is just shaped different than mine.
100%.
And there are things that Matt is wonderful at and enjoys doing.
Yeah.
That I'm not as good at or I don't enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And so when we sat down and we have expectations, that was a two-way conversation. I didn't just sit Matt down and say, Matt, this is what I got for you. Now you go to work. I sat down and I said, okay, here's my expectations. Now what do yours look like? And let's negotiate.
Yeah.
Let's have a back and forth. And that was not a one-time conversation.
No.
That we have to have that pretty continually in order for us to be successful as leaders and us to continue to be successful as a company. Matt and I still have to sit down regularly and say, okay, hey, let's check in, buddy. We haven't talked about this in a couple of weeks. Where are we at in some of these leadership areas? Is there something that I need to be taken from you? Is there something that you need to be taken from me? And having those regular check-ins that don't take long.
And giving him that permission to take things from you, to say, hey, John, I might be able to have a perspective, a vantage point. I could be better at this than you.
Yes.
And it's a word that we don't like to use because we have so misdefined the word humble or humility, and we've equated it to weakness. But humility is just really an understanding. I know where I'm strong at, and I also know where someone else is strong, and that's why they're on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Two kingdom principles that can be hard to translate in business are humility and meekness.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
Meek doesn't mean weak.
No.
Right? And humble doesn't mean soft.
Right.
But those are so key to principles in leadership. We have to be humble and we have to be meek, but we do not have to be soft or weak.
Yeah.
And it's a very unhumble thing to say, but I think I am good at being humble. I think that is one of my strengths is showing. I'm able to truly self-assess and say, hey, this ain't in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
This ain't in my wheelhouse. So all of that being said, it is unbelievably important that your integrator is a guy you trust.
Yeah.
That you trust implicitly and he trusts you.
Yeah.
One way I describe our relationship is I lay out the road and I say, all right, we're going that direction. Here's the ditches. Matt, you're driving the bus.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do as long as you keep going that direction and you keep it between these ditches. And with that understanding that here's my boundaries and here's my vision, and now you can implement that however you need to, every aspect of our business started getting better almost immediately.
Wow.
And personal relationships have just soared.
That's good.
On every level. It's been real neat to watch as Matt started to learn a little bit more about godly discipline, like we've talked about in the past. Watching his relationship with the hands, watching how that has grown, how that's matured.
Yeah.
Has been unbelievable, right? And it's a thing that as parents we know. As parents we know that I might have to spank Susie.
Yeah.
And Susie's got to be mad at me for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But in the end, Susie's going to love me.
Yeah.
The same is true with our employees, right? All of us crave some level of discipline if it's coming from a place of love and a place of growth.
Let me ask this question because I don't know, and I don't know that we've ever talked about it. Matt. Where's Matt at in the spectrum of faith?
Oh, Matt, I am planting seeds.
Okay, so
It's not in the.
okay, see, I love that. I think that's awesome, because just because he doesn't claim Christ doesn't mean he's not bringing huge value and
Absolutely.
your values to the team.
That's exactly.
I love it. I think it's huge.
Absolutely. And what's so exciting about that for me is there's going to be a day where Matt's going to come into my office, or he's going to sit down at my table in my home, and he's going to say, John, I've known Matt for 20 years.
Yeah.
Matt's going to say, John, this ain't, what's different?
So he knows dead John, he knows living
Dead John and living John.
I love it.
And he's going to say, what changed? And I'm going to say, well, man, take your shoes off, get comfy. And let me tell you, let me tell you a little bit about what God has done.
Yeah.
Because none of these things that I've told you are values, none of these principles that I've given you, I didn't make any of them up, buddy.
Yeah.
I found all of them in this book with the red letters in the back of it.
See, isn't that good?
Oh, I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for that day.
And I think that's so, and it goes back to the message you heard when you wandered in a cajillion years ago. Marketplace and mission, or mission and marketplace. I think so often we have guys that want to be on platforms and be preachers, but they devalue the platform that they have in their business, in their school. And you're not, man, I shouldn't even say this because I'm a pastor, but you're not Bible thumping Matt. You're living it in front of him. You're giving the principles, the values. He's seeing Jesus in you and through you in your company. And you said it the last time we met, that we focus so much on planting and we focus so much on harvest. But the Bible says one man plants, another man waters. God's the one who gets the increase anyway. And you say, I'm in the watering business. I just think that's so huge for business leaders. If we would understand that every relationship dynamic that we may not be quoting John 3:16 to everybody, but we are giving some water.
I love that. You hated the word Bible thumper. I loved it.
Yeah.
In today's society where everybody has access to post their own stuff.
Yeah.
In Instagram, what do we call the TGIF culture, right?
Yeah.
Twitter, Google, Instagram, Facebook. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, the loudest voice gets heard, and we see so many just horrible, unbiblical people who call themselves Christians that live horrible, horrible, unbiblical lives that proclaim faith, and it smears God's name. So
it's so sad, John. This other thing that I probably shouldn't say and have it recorded, but I'll do it anyway. We do a lot of building. We're in the middle of remodeling another location, planting other campuses. One of the biggest turnoffs to me is when someone comes up and says, hey, man, do business with me. I'm a Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, I just feel like they got a knife out somewhere and they're about to stab me. I'd rather you just
100%
be a Christian and do business and don't have to tell me about it.
The very best testimony that we have is our walk, is the way we live our lives.
Yeah.
And I've heard it said 1,000 times, more is caught than ever is taught.
Yeah.
Right. And there is no doubt that everybody in my bubble, that I love Jesus, knows that I'm a Christian.
Absolutely.
You sneak in my office, it's not real loud, but you can hear a little bit of worship music playing.
Yeah.
If it's not classic 80s hair bands. Right.
For the guy who has no head.
I'm jealous. Of course, I could bang it a little bit. But, and there's a Bible on my credenza in my office.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it. But I don't Bible thump.
Yeah.
I live biblical principles and let people come to me and say, hey, Mr. John, how come you're doing good and I'm struggling? How come you're thriving and I'm surviving?
Come on.
Sit down, bud.
See, and to know that you didn't go out and look for someone who had the spiritual beliefs that you have to become your integrator. You look for the guy that would compliment you the best, and you were like, I can teach him
That's it.
my values.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be wonderful if I could have found a faith-filled man that was had all the things I was looking for.
Yeah.
But the Great Commission didn't tell us to go out and gather a bunch of Christians together.
Yeah.
He told us to go out and make disciples.
Yeah.
Not go find disciples.
Right.
And so I'm in the watering business, and I'm watering the heck out of Matt.
So get ready to wrap up our conversation. Let me ask this question. By bringing a Matt to your team, by bringing the integrator to the team, how has it benefited you, and how have you grown personally as a leader, but also as maybe a husband and a dad, by bringing the right people on your team?
Oh man, that's so good. That's the kind of thing that we miss a lot. And we talked about this a little bit. I think last time we were here, we talked about we have a hard time separating church business and worldly business, but it's all kingdom business.
Yeah.
Same's true with our home life.
Yeah.
It's not church life, work life, home life. It's just life.
It's life.
And understand how I'm gonna back up and punt. Bringing in an integrator, the impact on me has been, it's like he's my stress ball. It's an instant relief. Matt, man, I'm struggling with this. I need some help with this.
Yeah.
I got it, John. Don't worry about it. My stress level has come down enormously because I have so much trust in him now that he's going to implement things, and he's going to do it using my values.
And how long has Matt been on your team?
Matt's been with me for about 1.5 years now.
Okay, so 1.5 years, y'all developed this great trust.
Yes.
Because of great conversation and great execution.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And vice versa. There have been a couple of times where Matt has called me and said, "Hey, I'm out here on this site. I need you.
Yeah.
I need you to come out here."
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm on my way. I've made sure that I made up to his expectations.
That's good. That's good.
But in addition to that de-stressing, my business runs more efficiently because I'm no longer the lid. I'm no longer the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right. And when I'm being the ceiling, Matt has the freedom and has the relational equity with me to come tell me that I'm holding up progress.
Wow.
And again, that all of that has to be just implicit with trust.
Yeah.
But how that comes home, my home is the exact same way. Absolutely. I'm the head of my household.
Sure.
And my wife runs it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I am the head of my house.
Yeah, I used to hear it said this way. I'm the head of the house, but she's
the neck. That's it. And I think my bus driver application, I think, is a pretty good one in how a biblical family kind of runs as well, right? We look at Proverbs 31, and I think that so many, this is kind of a touchy area. I think so many women hear the word submission and kind of like we're talking about meekness and weakness and think that means I go sit in the corner. Not at all. You read through Proverbs 31, and that woman's a beast.
Oh, yeah.
That woman's a beast. Yeah. She's handling business. She's running the house. She's running her community. She's running her church.
Yep.
She's doing all of this when her husband's away.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's a beast.
It's got it going on.
She is not a humble little mouse sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
And I think being able to say, to kind of put your pride in your back pocket and say, "Hey, girl, you have permission to be the beast in this house.
Yeah.
You have all the authority that God has given you as a godly wife. Let's run stuff.
Yeah.
Let's kind of divvy up our duties here." And being able to do that and understanding how well that worked in business has made a tremendous impact in our home. And better than me enjoying that, my kids see it. My kids, I got a house full of teenage girls, Pastor. I mean, this is not, it's not always easy road. But I'm telling you, even the cats are all girly, right? It's rough in the kinder house. But watching how those girls have been impacted by mom and dad working together much more seamlessly.
And that empowers your girls.
Absolutely.
You know, they go looking for a husband. They're not going to look for somebody who's domineering. They're going to look for somebody who's empowering.
I have taken my daughters at least once a month since they could walk on a daddy-daughter date every month. And I open doors for them, and I bring them flowers, and we go where they want to eat, and I pick up checks, and I pull their chair out, and I stand up when they get up to leave. I do all of the things that traditional chivalry says we should do.
Yeah.
And what I've always told them is, my number one job as a daddy of daughters is to set the example for how your husband needs to treat you.
Yep.
Now, you know my story. For a lot of years, I did a very poor job of that.
Sure.
And I love that my daughters have seen that growth.
Wow.
I love that my daughters have seen now.
Yeah.
I hate the pain. I hate the father wounds that it's caused.
Sure.
But I love that my daughters have seen what an unbiblical husband looks like and what a family with a biblical husband looks like. I hate that they had to walk through it.
Sure.
But I'm so glad that they did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they did.
Man, that's awesome. That is so good. Well, hey, I want to encourage you, if you need some help in your business and your leadership, get the book, Rocket Fuel.
Absolutely.
It helped both of us. Maybe it'll help you. And if nothing else, it'll help your family and your home. And I get nothing from Rocket Fuel except the ability to empower and help those who view and watch. And so thank you for joining us today, John. Thank you for being
Thank you for having me.
our guest today. And just know that every Friday, 4 o'clock, we'll be dropping another episode. And if this benefits you, encourages you, share it with somebody else and maybe they'll do the same. God bless you. We'll see you next time Beyond the Table.